Imagine a world consumed by religious fervor, where every aspect of life was deeply intertwined with faith and devotion. In this world, the church held immense power, influencing the lives of kings and commoners alike. The air was thick with the scent of incense, and the sound of prayers echoed through grand cathedrals and humble chapels. In this fervent atmosphere, knights and kings embarked on perilous journeys for God and glory. They donned heavy armor, mounted their steeds, and set forth on quests that would take them across continents. These journeys were not just physical, but spiritual, as they sought to defend their faith and earn a place in heaven. This was the age of the Crusades, a series of holy wars fought between Christians and Muslims for control of Jerusalem, the sacred city revered by both faiths. The Crusades were marked by epic battles, sieges, and a profound sense of duty and sacrifice. Crusaders marched under the banner of the cross, driven by a desire to reclaim the Holy Land and protect their fellow Christians. From the 11th to the 13th centuries, the Holy Land echoed with the clash of swords and the fervor of prayers, forever shaping the destiny of Europe and the Middle East. The battles were fierce and the stakes were high, as both sides believed they were fighting for a divine cause. The landscape of the Holy Land was forever changed by the bloodshed and the construction of fortresses and castles. The First Crusade was sparked by Pope Urban II's call to arms in 1095. His impassioned speech at the Council of Clermont ignited a fire in the hearts of those who heard it. He spoke of the suffering of Christians in the East and the desecration of holy sites, urging the faithful to take up arms and embark on a holy mission. He urged Christian Europe to liberate Jerusalem from Muslim rule, promising forgiveness of sins for those who took up the cross. This promise of spiritual reward, combined with the allure of adventure and the chance to gain wealth and land, drew thousands to join the Crusades. They left behind their homes and families, driven by a sense of duty and the hope of eternal salvation. The First Crusade was sparked by Pope Urban II's call to arms in 1095. In a passionate speech delivered at the Council of Clermont, he urged the Christian faithful to take up arms and embark on a holy mission. His words resonated deeply, igniting a fervor that would sweep across Europe. He urged Christian Europe to liberate Jerusalem from Muslim rule, promising forgiveness of sins for those who took up the cross. This promise of spiritual reward was a powerful motivator, offering not just a path to salvation, but also a sense of purpose and unity in a time of widespread turmoil and uncertainty. Tens of thousands answered his plea, driven by religious zeal, a thirst for adventure, or the hope of a better life in the East. The call to crusade transcended social boundaries, attracting nobles, knights, and commoners alike. For many, it was an opportunity to escape the hardships of medieval life and seek fortune and glory in distant lands. Among the first to heed the call were ordinary people, led by charismatic preachers like Peter the Hermit. These preachers traveled from town to town, inspiring the masses with their fiery sermons and promises of divine favor. Their message was simple yet compelling: join the crusade and become part of a grand, holy endeavor. This People's Crusade was a ragtag army of the poor and desperate, ill-equipped and lacking military discipline. Despite their lack of resources and training, they were driven by an unshakable faith and a burning desire to reclaim the Holy Land. Their journey was marked by both hope and hardship, as they faced the harsh realities of medieval travel and warfare. Their journey was fraught with hardship and violence, culminating in their massacre at the hands of the Seljuk Turks in 1096. The harsh terrain, lack of supplies, and constant threat of attack took a heavy toll on the Crusaders. Many perished along the way, their dreams of glory and salvation ending in tragedy. The First Crusade truly began with the arrival of powerful European armies, led by nobles like Godfrey of Bouillon and Raymond of Toulouse. These seasoned warriors brought with them the military expertise and resources needed to mount a serious campaign. Their leadership transformed the crusade from a disorganized mob into a formidable fighting force, capable of challenging the might of the Muslim world. The Crusaders employed a variety of tactics and siege engines to overcome the fortified cities and strongholds they encountered. Their determination and ingenuity were key to their success as they adapted to the challenges of each new battlefield. The capture of Jerusalem in 1099 was a momentous victory achieved through a combination of relentless assault and strategic planning. The fall of Jerusalem was met with jubilation and solemn reverence. The Crusaders saw it as a divine vindication of their cause, a sign that their sacrifices had not been in vain. They established new Christian states in the Holy Land, laying the foundations for a century of Crusader presence in the region. This victory, however, was just the beginning of a long and complex history of conflict and coexistence between the Christian and Muslim worlds. The First Crusade truly began with the arrival of powerful European armies led by nobles like Godfrey of Bouillon and Raymond of Toulouse. These seasoned warriors besieged Nicaea, Antioch, and finally Jerusalem in 1099. The capture of Jerusalem was a brutal affair marked by widespread bloodshed and the slaughter of its Muslim and Jewish inhabitants. The Christian victory led to the establishment of 4 Crusader states in the Holy Land: the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Tripoli, the County of Edessa, and the Principality of Antioch. The Christian victory led to the establishment of 4 Crusader states in the Holy Land: the Kingdom of Jerusalem, the County of Tripoli, the County of Edessa, and the Principality of Antioch. These fragile outposts, constantly under threat from resurgent Muslim forces, became the focal point of nearly 2 centuries of conflict. One of the most prominent figures of the Crusades was Saladin, a brilliant Muslim general and ruler who united the Islamic world against the Crusader presence. One of the most prominent figures of the Crusades was Saladin, a brilliant Muslim general and ruler who united the Islamic world against the Crusader presence. Known for his chivalry and military prowess, Saladin dealt the Crusaders a crushing blow at the Battle of Hattin in 1187, paving the way for the recapture of Jerusalem later that year. The fall of Jerusalem sent shockwaves through Europe, prompting the Third Crusade, led by legendary figures like Richard the Lionheart of England and Philip II of France. The fall of Jerusalem sent shockwaves through Europe, prompting the Third Crusade, led by legendary figures like Richard the Lionheart of England and Philip II of France. While they failed to retake Jerusalem, Richard's military genius and his negotiated truce with Saladin secured Christian access to the Holy City. While they failed to retake Jerusalem, Richard's military genius and his negotiated truce with Saladin secured Christian access to the Holy City. The Fourth Crusade, however, took a dark turn, highlighting the growing disconnect between the Crusades' religious ideals and political realities. The Fourth Crusade, however, took a dark turn, highlighting the growing disconnect between the Crusades' religious ideals and political realities. Instead of reaching the Holy Land, the Crusaders, swayed by Venetian interests, sacked Constantinople, the Christian capital of the Byzantine Empire, in 1204. This act of betrayal further deepened the rift between the Eastern and Western Christian worlds. As the 13th century progressed, the Crusades lost their momentum. Subsequent expeditions, plagued by internal divisions and increasingly focused on political and economic gain, failed to achieve their objectives. The final chapter of the Crusader presence in the Holy Land came in 1291 with the fall of Acre, a vital port city and the last Crusader stronghold. The Mamluks, a powerful Muslim dynasty centered in Egypt, captured Acre after a bloody siege, effectively ending the era of the Crusades. The Crusades left an indelible mark on history, shaping the relationship between the East and West for centuries to come. The Crusades left an indelible mark on history, shaping the relationship between the East and West for centuries to come. These series of religious wars, initiated by the Latin Church in the medieval period, were aimed at reclaiming the Holy Land from Islamic rule. The impact of these conflicts was profound and far-reaching, influencing not just the political landscape but also the cultural and social dynamics of the time. While often romanticized in literature and popular culture, the Crusades were brutal conflicts marked by religious intolerance and violence on both sides. The battles were fierce, with both Christian and Muslim forces committing atrocities in the name of their faiths. The romantic notion of noble knights and chivalrous deeds often overshadows the harsh realities of war, including the suffering of countless innocents caught in the crossfire. They contributed to the persecution of Jews in Europe and sowed seeds of mistrust between Christians and Muslims that resonated long after the last Crusader stronghold fell. Jewish communities were often scapegoated and faced increased violence and discrimination during and after the Crusades. This period also saw the beginning of a long history of strained relations between the Christian and Muslim worlds, a legacy that has echoed through the centuries. Yet, the Crusades also fostered cultural exchange. Despite the violence and conflict, there were moments of interaction and cooperation between different cultures. The Crusades opened up channels for the exchange of knowledge, art, and technology between the East and West. These interactions, though often overshadowed by the conflict, played a crucial role in shaping the cultural landscape of the medieval world. The flow of pilgrims, merchants, and scholars between East and West led to the transmission of knowledge, ideas, and goods. Pilgrims traveled to holy sites, merchants traded exotic goods, and scholars sought out ancient texts and new ideas. This movement of people and ideas helped to break down cultural barriers and facilitated a greater understanding between different societies. European scholars rediscovered classical Greek and Arabic texts, sparking a renaissance of learning. The works of ancient philosophers and scientists, preserved and expanded upon by Muslim scholars, were reintroduced to Europe. This influx of knowledge laid the groundwork for the intellectual revival known as the Renaissance, which would transform European thought and culture in the centuries to come. Trade flourished, bringing Eastern luxuries and spices to European markets. The demand for goods such as silk, spices, and precious metals led to the establishment of new trade routes and the growth of merchant cities. These economic changes had a lasting impact on European society, contributing to the rise of a wealthy and influential merchant class. The Crusades remain a complex and controversial period in history. They were a time of great conflict and suffering, but also of significant cultural and intellectual exchange. The legacy of the Crusades is a testament to the enduring power of human interaction, both for good and ill, and serves as a reminder of the complexities of our shared past. The Crusades remain a complex and controversial period in history. Understanding their causes, events, and consequences is crucial for comprehending the dynamics of East-West relations and the enduring power of religious belief. While the Crusades ended centuries ago, their echoes can still be felt in the world today, reminding us of the importance of dialogue, tolerance, and mutual understanding in a world grappling with religious and cultural differences.